Today we're looking at math lesson 16.2, represent equivalent fractions with larger parts. The I can statement says I can represent a fraction with equal parts that are larger in size than the equal parts of an equivalent fraction. So yesterday I think we did with smaller parts. Today we're doing larger parts. Thea is a landscaper. According to her design, 2/3 of the garden should contain red roses. She plants red roses in 4/6 of her new garden. Not 2/3. Did Thea make a mistake? Or Thea make a mistake? So what we're going to try and find out then is 4/6 and 2/3 equivalent. So let's draw two equal size boxes. And let's divide those boxes into, let's do the one with thirds first. And she was supposed to plant 2/3 of them with red roses. Okay? So we're going to shade in 2/3 of it red. Then we're going to divide this one into 6. And remember, to get 6, we can start with thirds and then divide all our thirds in half. And she planted 4/6, so we're going to shade in 4/6. What do you notice about the 4/6 and the 2/3? They are the same, so they are equivalent. So in your box, we're going to say the same amount of space is shaded for 4/6 and 2/3. So Thea did not make a mistake. Okay, you're at home, go ahead and stop your video and get that down. Okay, you should be on page 426, Build Understanding. At soccer practice, Coach Penny draws a diagram in which she divides the field into 8 equal-sized zones. The 6 zones closest to the goal are the scoring area. Coach Penny uses a diagram to show the area she uses. Okay, so we're going to shade the diagram the 6 parts closest to the goal, she says. Maybe. The 6 parts closest to the goal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then it says Coach Reese divides the same field into 4 equal-sized zones. Coach Reese's scoring zones are the 3 zones closest to the goal. Use Coach Reese's diagram to show the area he uses for the scoring zone. So we're going to divide his into 4 equal-sized pieces. Okay, and then he uses the 3 closest to the goal. So what fraction can you write for the area of the field that Coach Penny uses for the goal? So let's count Coach Penny's squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she uses 6 pieces. And how many did it say she divided her goal into? into 8 equal pieces. So we know that the bottom is always the number of parts and the top is the number that's being counted. So Coach Penny uses 6/8. What fraction can you write to represent Coach Ruiz's scoring zone? So let's write our denominator first. How many parts did he divide his into? 4. And of those 4 parts, how many did he shade? So he drew 4 parts and he shaded 3 of those parts. How do the fractions compare for the area of Coach Penny and Coach Ruiz's scoring zones? Are they equivalent? Are they the same? Look back at our picture. Yep. If you look at this Coach Penny's without this center line in it, you can see that if I took that out, I would have 4 sections. So we could say that 6/8 and 3/4 are equivalent because both scoring zones cover the same area. Okay, if you're at home, stop and get that down. 2 relay teams, we've turned the page over now, we're on 427. 2 relay teams race across Lomas Park. The red team divides the distance equally among 6 runners. The blue team divides the distance equally among 3 runners. So the red team, it said, the red team divides it among 6 runners, and the blue team divides it among 3 runners. So the red team, we're going to divide that into 6 parts. I always like to do my thirds first. It's just much easier. And the blue team is going to divide it between 3 runners. So I have 1 that's in 6. Each part is 1/6, and 1 that is in 1/3. The first 4 runners for the red team and the first 2 runners for the blue team complete their parts of the race. Use the drawings to show the distance that the teams completed. So 4 runners of the red team. And we know that each one of these stood for a runner. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it said the first 2 runners of the blue team. So 2 runners, blue team. So we're going to shade in 2 because each of these boxes stood for a runner. Now, use the drawings to show the distance that the teams completed. What do you notice about those 2 things? Let's go down and put it on our number line. Locate and draw a point to show how much of the race each team completes. Complete the number line and show. So notice across the top of our number line, we're doing 6. So we're going to go 0, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, and 5, 6. Now, on the bottom, we have thirds. So we're going to, what will help us divide this into thirds? Well, if we go 1, 2, 3. So at 2, 6, we're going to write 1/3. At 4, 6, we're going to write 2/3. Okay? And we know that the red team did 4, 6. So we're going to put a red dot at 4, 6. And the blue team did 2/3. Oh, how do the fractions of the race that each team completes compare? Which team completes more of the race? Well, how do the fractions compare? 4/6 that the red team ran, 6 and 2/3 are equivalent.
4/6 and 2/3 are equivalent. Both teams complete the same distance because the fractions are the same distance. Okay, I want you to go ahead down and do your, stop the video so you can get that down, and then go down and do your check your understanding. And then come back to the video. Okay, hopefully you completed the check your understanding, and you can come back and check on that. Go ahead and try number 3 on the back, on your own. Actually, just try 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then come back and check them. Miss Ash shades 1/2 of a rectangle. Will shades 3 of 6 sections in the same size rectangle. Will says that 3 of 6 sections he has shaded are equivalent to 1/2. So both rectangles have the same area shaded. Is he correct? Explain why or why not. Well, three equal parts of 6 would be the same, but since Will did not divide his rectangle into equal parts, no, Will is not correct. So go ahead and get that down if you didn't. And then here's a peek at number 4 and 5, and then number 6. Okay, on the homework, I'm going to help you out here with number 1. Carson and Lydia have the same size pizzas. Carson cuts his pizza into 1/8 and eats 3/8. Linda cuts her pizza into 4ths and eats 1/4. Carson says he eats the same amount of pizza as Lydia because 3/8 is equivalent to 1/4. Is Carson correct? Look at Carson's pizza and look at Lydia's pizza. Did Carson eat more or less or equal amount of Lydia's pizza? Well, we can tell from our diagram that Carson ate more of his pizza than Lydia did. So the answer is no. So here's the answer to number 1. You need to go ahead and finish your homework page. Please be careful and read and follow all the directions.